Hello, everyone. Welcome back to OBScast, the official podcast of the Augustana Observer. I'm Kevin, and I'm joined today by some of our editors. If you guys could go ahead and introduce yourselves,
I can
please.
go first. My name is Olivia Doak. I am a sophomore and assistant news editor.
I can go next. I'm Natalie McMillan. I am the news editor for the Observer, and I'm a junior.
I'm Jordan Cohn. I'm a senior, and I'm the managing editor for the Observer.
I'm Brady Johnson. I'm a junior, and I'm the features editor for this year.
So today we're going to talk about digital learning, since this is the end of the first week, and like how classes are going, the shortcomings of a digital classroom, and any possible improvements from in-person learning. I know professors like Dr. Schwartz have voiced that they're feeling pretty optimistic, and think like some of their classes are actually benefiting from this. So I guess, how was everyone's week, just to kind of start off?
For me,
socialize with people.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, it was hard just knowing like what professors are expecting, because I feel like I spent a lot of time trying to figure out like how long it would take me to do things or what exactly I was supposed to do. So I think that was the hardest part, but hopefully that'll get better after this week.
I think the hardest part for me is probably just motivating myself to do the homework after done talking with everyone in the class and such.
Mm-hmm.
Like sitting down for a class is really great to just see all classmates and professors again. Goodness, as an extrovert, I miss them. But when it comes to like motivating myself to do homework, I have a dog here now, so I'm easily distracted.
Yeah, motivation for me is seriously lacking for a lot of reasons. I think one of the bigger ones is for homework. Like, I don't do homework at my house. Like, at school, if I'm going to do my homework, I go to the brew, or I go to the office, or I go to the library. Like, I can't focus in a space that, like, I used to just be and exist. And so it's hard for me to, like, do productive things in a space where, like, I'm resting a lot, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no.
That definitely makes a lot of sense. Same way, I have to barricade myself in my room to try to get anything done, because I also have animals and family members who also have classes as well, or work. And it's really hard to try to like get everybody to do what they need to do while also having to take care of like the family unit and going out to get groceries and like clean up after pets and clean the house and everything. So it's just, I feel like I've added on more things than I'm usually used to.
Same. I'm sharing the room with my brother, and we literally take turns like, okay, I have class at this time. I needed quiet for this. I have a recording of Boy Scouts. I needed quiet for this.
So are most of everyone's classes kind of doing like a maybe weekly or bi-weekly class meeting, or is it kind of a lot of desynchronous learning where it's just like a lot of online participation?
My classes meet at least once a week via Google Hangouts. Some of my classes are split into, we'll meet video-wise, like the first day, so like on Tuesdays, and then on Thursdays we'll meet in like a Moodle forum or something like that.
I'm also in one of her classes, and I can concur with that. Some of the other classes, though, I have an English class with Dr. Green. Fantastic. We meet every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday and just discuss the different literary works we plan to. And then I also have Dr. Schwartz's Mass Media Comm Law. And that one we meet on Mondays. Brady, you're also in this class. What do we do Wednesdays?
Just the Monday, weekly live Monday classes, and then kind of the discussion forum that we have to do later on in the week.
Yeah, and then Thursday's the overall review, and then we just get ready for the next week.
Each class is different, so it's kind of hard. Like, I can't play by the one rule book in terms of how each class, going with what Dope said earlier, with expectations on what you need to do, because each class has some similarities, but they're vastly different in how they go about online learning.
Right. I know that like a lot of this has been difficult for everyone, but like I feel like the biggest problem on my side, I've noticed that instead of doing like the traditional, this is your class day, like you have from, let's say, like 9 to 7 is the time spent being a student, and after that's just kind of free time. But now it just feels like I'm using all of the, it's like what you were saying, Jordan, about like doing homework in space that you exist in. So like our eyes are dying because we're just staring at screens all day.
I totally agree with that.
That's why I invested in the blue light glasses.
Yeah, I
don't
feel
know.
that. I have class 8:30 to 2 o'clock traditionally, and I know that like my professors have cut down that time just so that we're not on our screens all day. But even like after 3 classes of being on a screen, I need a nap. Yeah, I'm tired of looking at it.
Mm-hmm. It's especially hard because we don't have like any extracurriculars. Like I don't have practice, like I don't have work. So I like expand my time so that just school just fills everything. And it's kind of overwhelming and it's not great for my productivity, but that's kind of what kind of happens.
I did that the first couple days and then I started getting stir crazy. And so now our greenhouse is completely cleaned out, swept, and a whole bunch of my plants now lined inside. And my sister now has chickens.
It feels like a slippery slope into I don't know what, but it feels like a slippery slope into something.
You know, that's kind of my family.
First you sweep the greenhouse, and next thing you know,
there's chickens. One that's named Gertie, and the other one is Sanders.
So I'm hearing a lot of kind of general dissent, I guess, against digital classrooms. Is there anything like more specific besides like within the classes itself, instead of with the way that, I mean, obviously it'll be with the way they're functioning? What is like the main shortcoming of this, I guess?
For me, it's more of the in-person one-on-one thing. One thing you can't really get from these online classes is that you can't read the professor's body language as easy, or you can't read your fellow classmates' body language as easy. And I really value one-on-one time with people, even if it's in a classroom or anything, and it's kind of depriving in this situation.
Well, I know also a lot of professors have had to cut assignments or change what they do, and I just feel like in a lot of my classes that I'm missing out on like essential parts of like the course that I was really looking forward to, and I don't know, it's hard. It doesn't feel like it's the same.
Schwartz's trial by fire.
Yeah, I'm so upset. I never won one of those, and that was my goal.
Same.
And now I'm never gonna have another chance.
Yeah, nor are we gonna have that plaque.
I know. I wanted to be a winner, man.
That's like a major part of that class.
It really is. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's so fun too, and it really challenges you at the same time, and so that's sad that you guys don't get to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all my class discussions have been basically pushed back into like an online form, and then you have to rely on when other people are free, because some people still have to work when they're home and take care of the house and that kind of thing. So then you're like, okay, well, I can't type a reply because nobody in my group has yet to send a message out, or then it's the other way around and I don't get around to it till later in the day. So that it's definitely dysfunctional, because we used to just be in class at the same time and able to talk to each other on like the same playing field of knowledge. Now it's like, well, who's on top of things and who is busy with other things and unable to offer their feedback.
Right. And I know it's only been a week, so this could all of this could change, but as far as the forums are going, like I just feel like I go in there, I answer the prompt, and then I'm done. Like I'm just not engaged at all. And so I don't know.
I really feel like the Moodle forums particularly are very conversationally limited. Traditionally, we as students enter them as if we're supposed to enter like a short essay, whereas I feel like all conversation that we're using them for now would benefit from a more group chat style conversation, where it's just short segments of what you think and kind of like agreement and dissent, versus these really long paragraphs. Whereas it just kind of like, here's this, and then someone goes, I agree, this. And while we're also getting a lot of information from this, which is great, we're not getting any feedback from it. So it's just this really like one-sided conversation, even though we can still read everything everyone else is saying. Like, you know what I'm saying?
You can read what your classmates are writing, but realistically, how many of us are going to do that?
Right. It'd be like if... It's no better than like a bulletin board where you just walk up and put your argument, read everyone else's, and then leave. Like you won't know how anyone responds because
There's also the part of class discussion where a lot of people like nod their heads and will just pipe up and say, I agree. You really can't do that in this forum. Like there's a couple classes I actually did try to say like, oh yeah, I agree with what you say. And I try to add on, but most of the time I just want to type in a smiley face just to show my support for their idea.
For what we have, it's obviously it's better than nothing.
Right.
And it's good that we're able to, like get our ideas out there. it's rough. I think it could be a lot better. It could be way worse though.
Makes you really value what we had at Augie when we
True.
did have it, and even so, what makes you value what they are doing right now for this sort of
Right.
pandemic.
Yeah. I do feel like, I mean, like, again, it's only been 1 week, so like a lot could change, but I do feel like it was the wrong week to kind of cut off on and come back in on, because like some classes managed to get their midterms done, and to start like after spring break was great, but we also canceled a lot of midterms, so we came back in the middle of midterms. So I feel like that really, for me at least, really just kind of threw this week into a garbage fire.
I think it's important, I mean, going through this to realize that, professors are trying their hardest, and it's not going to be the perfect landscape that it used to be, but also a two-way street, knowing that students aren't going to be, unfortunately, as engaged as they would be if they're there, because they're in different home environments and some are better than others. And it's kind of hard to get a grasp of how everybody's doing, even though we know for the most part we should all be home. You just never know what's going on.
The other thing too is you don't know anyone's position, just like Brady said, and anyone could be going through anything too, so that makes it 10 times more difficult.
What do you guys think have been improvements in this?
Well, I'm also in one of Schwartz's class with both Doak and Cone. We are in the sequence class, and they're both Yasher and Schwartz gave us resources and such from other schools that just became available online for free during this whole time. So we actually have a bunch of access to learning materials that we didn't have before.
I also feel like it's a lot less work. I mean, that's kind of a good thing and kind of not a good thing, but I don't know. I feel like it's going to be less stressful. But I definitely agree with you, Macmillan. That resource online that's free now because of everything that's going on, like that's going to be really helpful.
Brady, do you have any thoughts on how things have improved?
I'm trying to think of something new to add, but Natalie's comment was really, I didn't think about it that way, noticing all the new things that are probably out for free for people to utilize now that most people know that we're all at home. Colleges aren't running as they used to. And it's like very unprecedented. I'm going to be saying that too many times over the course of the rest of this term, but it's true. Like you take day by day. So, I mean, I think the best thing is students, talk to one another to make sure that no one's being left behind. Because I know a good part of being in-person classes, and like I think Natalie mentioned earlier, is body language and being able to know how people are doing and following up with them and that kind of thing. I feel like we kind of lost some of that now that we're stuck in our homes, and even though we have our phones, you never know what people are going through, if they're busy or not, and different people's schedules are now all over the place because you can't have that in-person class that we used to.
Or at least that crazy lunch period.
Yeah.
At least there's no lunch rush anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, is it kind of sad that I miss it now?
Oh, I miss the lunch lady so much.
I feel like everything that like I thought like I didn't like about Augie, like I miss. Like I wouldn't mind slipping down the Westy Hill on ice right now.
We're standing in line for lunch for a good 20 minutes with other
people. Or falling into that puddle, but on the path between the A-hole and Old Main.
Oh yeah.
Where all the water gathers.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'd rather not have this. I completely lost. Oh yeah, so in-person learning, it's obviously there's more variety of learning styles. Even though it is like a strictly kind of lecture-based system. I mean, like you can still have discussion-based. Whereas with this digital learning, it's a lot more narrow field in terms of learning style. Do you think that's, I mean, obviously it's going to affect people, but like how have you experienced, we've kind of already talked about this a little bit in terms of like body language from professors or fellow students. What I'm trying to get to is, does digital learning kind of level the playing field for people who aren't as outspoken in class? Does this kind of like help students, or however?
I've definitely seen a difference in my English class. It's very heavy discussion based, even now with the Google Meets and such. And I actually hear more voices of different people in the class and such, more so than there actually was in class.
I definitely agree. I think Well, especially for me, like it takes a while for me to like form my thoughts, and sometimes in class it feels like a competition, like who can like raise their hand the fastest and like answer the question, and I need like a second to like think. And in that sense, I think it's definitely leveled the playing field, especially with like the forums. You can like take your time and like develop your answer, and yeah, you don't have to like compete for your professor's attention because it's all online.
On the flip side, though, do you think this has negatively impacted people who are more involved learning style?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. Oh my gosh. There's so many times in like the forum and such, I will just go into the comment section and just make sarcastic comments and such, a bit off of some of the characters that we're reading in Thackeray's Vanity Fair, just because it's really hard for me to sit still and not pitch in a comment and such, agreeing with someone or disagreeing with someone.
This definitely has me thinking about on a similar subject, but not so much about introverts and extroverts, but the level of playing field in terms of Wi-Fi connections, and if people have laptops. I know I should preface this by saying, like, I had multiple professors, and even the college was trying to make sure that people had the necessary tools to learn. Just thinking, because we don't know what students have, like, their Wi-Fi, if they even have Wi-Fi. I feel like most people do nowadays, but you never know. Or if they were relying on the laptops in the library, or not the desktops if they didn't have a laptop. But I know that's a case-by-case basis, and I'm hoping that my fellow students were helped out with. But that's one thing I've definitely been thinking about since starting this, is whether or not people are able to, if like they're sharing a laptop. I know Natalie mentioned having to share like the same learning space with her brother, but like if they're able to use a laptop to write a paper, if their mom has to use it for her work and that kind of thing. So
I know the school actually sent out phone calls right before classes began, asking like, oh, in this questionnaire you filled out, you pointed out these problems you might be having. Let's talk through and see how we can actually relieve this. So hopefully in a way that everyone at least is at a semi-level playing field with the materials they need.
I think that's about all we have to say for now. Does anyone else want to add anything else? Do you guys feel pretty good?
I'll send you guys pictures of my chickens later.
Fair enough.
Please do.
All right. Thank you again for joining us. Thank you all for joining me today, and we'll see you next week.